Hi, we are here at Classic Talk with Bing and Dennis, speaking with Sondra Radvanovsky today. Go ahead.
So, at what point you think, well, I'm going to be an opera singer?
You know, I've told this story many times. I don't know if you've read about it, but I saw Placido Domingo on TV when I was, 12 years old, right before I started taking voice lessons. And he was singing Tosca live on TV. I don't know how we landed on it, but I said, Mom, wait, I want to see this. And I watched the whole thing, and I was entranced. And I pointed to the TV, and I said, I want to do that. My mom said, yeah, honey, okay. But I did, and I started, when I took voice lessons, I only sang opera, classical music. I never, ever was like a teenage kid wanting to sing, the songs of Journey or Pat Benatar, or, all the singers that were when I was growing up. I only sang opera. And
why is that?
I had a passion for it. I really did. I was entranced in not just the music, but that you could go and become someone else on stage, and that I could act and pretend to be someone else, because I always played dress up as a kid, and as we do as kids. And I don't know, I just felt like in my gut, I loved it. It's something I wanted to do, and I stayed with it.
I think because the way you wanted something so badly. Now, we're just talking about being mortgage broker.
Yes, that's my secret.
You're probably the best in the field.
You belong on one of those TV shows they now have from Los Angeles, selling the multi-million.
I did actually. I sold a lot of, mortgages to a lot of Hollywood people. And I won the best mortgage broker of the year when I was my last year there. I don't know how, because I was sneaking out all the time to go take voice lessons. And I won a trip to New York the year before I came to New York to win the National Council auditions at the Metropolitan Opera. So maybe it was a premonition there, you'll get ready to go to New York. But
so you stay with the program for what?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years,
right?
yeah.
Immediately after winning the National Council, they brought you into the...
The following fall. So I think it was April, because it was right after my birthday. And I think I came back in July or August to start with the program, and had to pack up my whole life in Southern California and move here to New York.
And the 3 years has really made a lot of difference?
Well, another little secret I will tell you. When I won the National Council auditions, I sang probably arias and repertoire that was a little bit too big for me at the time. I don't know if Dennis remembers this. I came in singing Ritorno Vincitor from Aida at 24 when I sang the first auditions. And I really thought that's what I should be doing, because my teacher in LA said, you're a spinto soprano, you're a Verdi soprano. At 24. And luckily, thank God, they chose me as a winner. But Maestro Levine really had reservations, as a few other people did too. Gail Robinson, who was in charge of the National Young Artist Program at the time. And my voice was very dark and heavy, unnaturally. And they really wanted me to lighten it up. So I had a new teacher here in New York.
Wait a minute. Unnaturally, what do you mean by it was dark? Unnaturally.
I was making it dark. Artificially dark. Maybe that's a better way to do it. I was producing a sound instead of letting, I think, my true sound come out. And so I changed teachers when I moved here to New York and started studying with Ruth Falcon, who was a wonderful technician, a great voice teacher. And she changed my life and changed my voice. But they weren't sure if they wanted to keep me in the Young Artist Program for all 3 years. I was taken on a trial basis for the first year. And if I didn't change my voice from this artificially darkened color, because my voice is naturally dark anyway, and I was making it even darker, then I think they were going to let me go. But thank God, they believed in me enough, and Ruth Falcon worked hard enough with me and really changed my voice.
So then after this happens and you're no longer singing Ritorno Vincitor, what does a 25-year-old spinto, or to-be spinto, sing?
Baby spinto, I called it.
What do you sing until you mature and are ready to sing the big roles?
Well, that was the $1 million question. That really was the $1 million question. Nobody knew exactly where to put me, what I should sing. There was thrown around that I should sing only Mozart. So I tried singing Mozart, and I felt like I had this straitjacket on vocally. I just couldn't express what I was wanting to express, and I was getting tight in my body and tight in my throat. So Ruth said, listen, it's a long shot. How about we give her Trovatore just to work on the arias? Everything snapped, and we worked on the whole role. It wasn't straitjacketing like Mozart was, but it was still in the bel canto kind of feel. And I did my first Trovatore at the Met when I was 27 years old. Wow. Yeah, boy, if I had known now, I would have talked to that 27-year-old and said, But so we did that, and you and I did the Tales of Hoffmann. I did Antonia and the Tales of Hoffmann. You beat it into me, thank God. And things like that, like full lyric soprano roles, but no Mozart.
No Mozart.
No, it just wasn't for me, really.
So you went in the direction of Verdi, which
Yes.
has been, you sing more Verdi than anything else. Is that a true statement?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
And what is your favorite Verdi to, or what evening is the most gratifying of your Verdi, all your ladies that you sing?
Wow, I think that'd have to be Aida.
Aida.
Yeah, which is still a new role for me too. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Aida, I think we have a clip to watch. Can you tell us what is this going to be?
Sure. This is from Barcelona. Production that I just did is a very old production, a very traditional, beautiful painted backdrops that I just did in July of this year. And it was the first production I did back after having the virus in my throat. It was a very emotional night. And this clip is the O Patria Mia from opening night. And if you look closely, you'll see a few tears in my eyes. It was a magical, magical night.
Let's take a listen.
Well, it's great. It's wonderful.
That's incredibly beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So, Aida, and you, how many Verdi roles do you sing?
Il Trovatore, La Traviata, Ballo in Maschera, Aida, Don Carlo, Simon Boccanegra, did I say Louisa Miller? Mm-hmm. I've not done Otello. Mm-hmm. Gosh, there's more. I know there's more. Yes. Vespri Siciliani, in the French version of Vep Sicilian, I did. Don Carlo. And I'm moving on in the next few years. I will be doing my first Forza del Destino.
What about Nabucco? You go that far or not?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I call those the angry women. And I'm staying away from the angry women while I'm still doing the Donizetti Three Queens coming up in the future. So.
And why is Aida your favorite or the most gratifying?
I love the music. I love the O Patria Mia and the story of it all. I don't know, she just really vibrates in me, like the whole character of her and a woman really torn between two separate things. And I feel that oftentimes, living in Canada, being an American, you feel torn between the two countries. And also I feel torn a lot between your friends and your work, and your personal life and your work. It's really always a struggle, and I really can relate to that.
Isn't that Canada and United States? Somehow they are very close, isn't it?
So close, but so far away, and so many. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but there's so many differences too. There really are. And having lived now in both countries, the political system is completely different in both countries, and politics. Also, I find Canada a bit more European in its day-to-day life.
You live in Toronto?
Yeah, we live outside of Toronto, yeah. Well, as I say, my husband and I say we have an expensive storage unit outside of Toronto. All of our furniture is there, but we're never there.
Right.
But, you know what, it's lovely. We live on 20 acres, just quiet, secluded, trees, little pond, in the middle of nowhere. And wherever we travel around the world, we're always right in downtown. We're downtown New York, downtown Paris, downtown London. And so the last thing we want when we go home is that hustle and bustle again. So just, you can walk around in your pajamas and nobody sees you, and to sleep without earplugs and all of that it's a joy. It really is.
It's a peacefulness.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's so important to really ground ourselves and to rejuvenate and regenerate, because it's difficult what we do. And this day and age, too, with the flying and going through airports and all of that, it's crazy.
Your future, operatically, has a lot of Donizetti queens in it.
Yes,
is that correct?
It does.
Now, tell us about the switch. You will not give up Verdi, of course, but what is it like to go from so much Verdi to... We're not talking about Adina and the small roles of Donizetti. We're talking about the Maria Stuardas and
the hefty women.
What's that like?
I wasn't sure. I just did my very first Anna Bolena. Before that, I had only done Lucrezia Borgia, and I did my very first Norma last November with Dolores Ogic, which was amazing. So I was still kind of dipping my toes into this bel canto. And the coach, and I guess I would call him my teacher now, Tony Manoli, the gentleman that I've worked with 16 years now, brought it up, and he said, Sondra, I really think you have something to say with these bel canto roles. I said, really? All this, I call them black notes on the page, all this coloratura and all this fioritura, moving the voice quickly. I said, really? You think so? And he said, yeah, come on, let's take a look at it. And we looked at the Al Dolce Guidami from Anna Bolena. And he said, yep, this is for you. And I said, okay, I'm not convinced, but we started working on it. And the more and more I worked on it, the more I really find that Verdi comes out of this.
Sure.
And it has helped my Verdi singing, because I've been working on these three queens. Because it really is the foundation. For some people, it's Mozart that they call, their medicine for the voice. But for me, it's really this bel canto, the Donizetti, the Bellini, that really teaches you technique, because you can't sing them without a technique. So I did Anna Bolena. In March and April, I go to Bilbao, Spain, to do my first Maria Stuarda. And then a year later, I do my first Roberto Devereux. Then I come to the Met and do the new production of Roberto Devereux with David McVicker's production. He's doing all three of them. He did the Anna Bolena. Stuarda's opening soon, and then Devereux. And then in the 15-16 season, I will probably need to be shot after this, but I'm doing all three of them simultaneously.
You're kidding.
Wow.
Where's
At
that?
the Metropolitan Opera.
Wow.
Is that amazing?
I think after that I will need a very long vacation. I'm either crazy or it's going to be a success, and I hope it's a success.
It's not too far from your home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could just run home.
That's right.
When the queens get too much.
According to what you just said, it seems to me that you are always in control with your voice, what you want to sing. Do you have anything that I really want to sing that, but it's not the right time, the right moment?
Yeah.
A lot of people cannot control that.
Yeah. Well, you can't wait.
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah. I bet you know what it's going to be.
No, I don't.
No? Turandot.
Wow.
Yeah, and also
That's a biggie.
that and the Scottish play. Can we say it here? Yeah, can we say Macbeth?
Yes.
I would love to sing that. I really would. And also there's one that is a huge undertaking, but I really want to do it, and that is Pique Dame. Mm-hmm. The problem is I don't speak Russian, and that is a very big opera. It's a lot of words, and it's a lot of Russian. But Turandot is really the one that's kind of looming right back here going, hello, hello.
It's not scheduled yet, you haven't?
Not yet, no. I said after I turned 50, so we're starting to schedule into that year now, so maybe we'll think about it. But none of the Wagner. No, really, I have no desire to do that.
Why?
I don't speak German. Truly, that is the biggest problem for me, is that Wagner is so talky. You know, there's a lot of dialogue back and forth. And I really think you have to have an understanding of the language to do it, do it justice.
Excuse me, you have people trying to push you in that direction? Or?
Yes, quite a few people. Because I think the size of my voice, and I say to my husband so many times, gosh, the one and only thing I wish in my lifetime is that I could be standing on stage and actually sitting out in the audience listening to myself sing. Because everybody says, oh, you have such a large voice, you know, to my ears.
Exactly, to your ears. Can you put into words and describe your voice?
Absolutely. It's funny because I've started teaching voice. And to teach voice, you really have to be able to communicate what you hear, what you feel, and how you sing. And I've really been honing that. And I sound like a gnat.
A what?
A gnat, a little mosquito
to
my ears.
My goodness.
When it's in the right place. When it's in the wrong place, it sounds really dark and full and rich because I'm listening to myself. But you as audience members won't hear that. You'll just hear this dark, woofy sound. But when it's right, when it's in the right placement, and we call it the chiaroscuro, to me it sounds like a little mosquito. It sounds very and it's very unfulfilling to me.
Right. How long did it take you to figure out that that's the right sound? And
well, I'm 43 now, and I probably just figured this out about last year or 2 years ago. So quite a few years. I did my first opera when I was 21, so 20-some years, yeah.
Does anybody compare you to Maria Callas?
Often. Very often, yeah.
Because of your acting ability or the color of your voice, or?
I think it's more the color of my voice. I would like to say it's my acting ability, but she truly was amazing. She had that stillness, and that's what I think really makes a great actress on stage, is finding the stillness, and something that I always aim for, especially in this new production of the Ballo with all the stuff going on around us, and there's a lot of stuff in this production for me to really find that stillness, and Callas was just the queen of that. But yes, I think it's more my color of my voice that people compare, and the vibrato of it, I think, is similar to Callas, but I never try to duplicate. I just try to use my own voice, and I admire what Callas did. Absolutely. She's one of my favorites. Leontine Price, Claudia Muzio. I like, the older generation of singers.
On a free evening, are you home sitting listening to some opera? Are you watching a movie or something? What do you do on a free night?
Sleep. I will tell you another secret here. You guys are getting all the secrets out of me. The one thing I never do is listen to music. I really don't.
Any kind of music?
Nothing. Nothing. Because for me, the silence.
You like silence?
I think, I feel a little bit like a schizophrenic person because there's always music in my ears and playing in my head. I'll be sitting in a movie theater, and start humming and not even realize that I'm humming. And my husband will go, Sondra, shh. What? You're humming again. Oh, sorry. Because the music is always going in my head. And, how you memorize, and if you're not memorizing, you're working on another one, or God forbid, you're working on new music while you're singing something. It's always difficult. So silence at home.
When you go to bed and you try to sleep, do you have tunes going around that you say, please leave me alone after you've sung a performance?
But unfortunately, once it starts, you can't jump off the train, as I say. You have to go from the beginning of the opera to the end.
No.
It's true. It's true. But I do the condensed version of it. It's like, okay, and then I can fall asleep. But until I get to the last note, I can't fall asleep. It's
better than going on a circle that you can't get out of.
No, I'm not on the endless loop, thank God. I'm just on the play it through once and then you go to sleep, But, It's, it is what it is. It's what we do.
Right. After the performance, do you often say, well, I should have done something like this, like that? Do you
beat myself up?
Yes.
Like I said, I used to. And I still do think I'm a big perfectionist. I always want to do better. I always want to do more. I always feel there is more. But it's live theater, and we really have to be kind and gentle to ourselves, because we could beat ourselves up about, a stage movement or one note. But the excitement is that it is live theater, and that there's always errors and things that happen on stage, whether it be costumes that don't function properly or, oh, well, I blew that note tonight. But, I think a lot of the audience members, they don't hear it. They don't hear it. And a lot of the mistakes we make don't really make it over the orchestra. We think we really messed up, but, I just do my best. And before every show, I say a little prayer to my father who passed away and wherever he is, just say, just allow me to do the very best I can tonight. That's all I ask for. I don't want perfection. I just want to be able to do the best I can do.
Was he a great fan, of course? When did he die?
My dad died very young. I was 17 when my dad died, and only got to hear me sing one voice competition. Never heard me sing with orchestra. He was very young. He was 54 when he passed away, and I found him dead, unfortunately. So he never really got to experience what I do, and
But you knew both of your parents supported what you were doing.
Absolutely. My dad, very early on, made a lot of sacrifices. Both my parents did, as I think any parent does of a child that has a talent and you really want to pursue that. My mom would go without buying extra special groceries for weeks just so she could pay for my voice lessons, because we weren't an affluent family at all. The sacrifices she made, time-wise, too, unbelievable.
Does she travel? Is she able to travel to hear you today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She doesn't want to come to this. She wants to see it in the movie theaters, because she really enjoys watching them at live in the cinemas, because the backstage experience and all of that. She really enjoys it.
See?
So, I know. I know. My mom. Plus, she's going to be 75, so it has to be a special trip for her to come and see it. But
actually, I think it's a very, very good project. And the programs, people actually can see you much more closer.
Absolutely. They can see everything, every aspect of it. And I think it's really taken the mysteriousness out of it. In some ways, the mystique of it, like, oh, what's going on backstage behind it. And I think it's good. I think it's going to bring more people to the opera for sure. And to show them that, look, we're only human. What we're doing, it's all pretend and make-believe, but the singing is real, and the orchestra is real, and our intentions are real, but all of that, it's to transport and touch as many people as we can. That's my goal in life, really. And thanks to Peter Gelb, the general manager at the Met, he's made that possible for a lot of people.
When that time comes, hopefully many years from now, that you decide to stop singing, do you think you'll teach or just walk away from opera, or what do you want to do at that point, or do you have any idea?
Yeah, I'm 43 now, and this they call the prime years of our career. I would like to say that I would teach, because I really have a passion for young artists and keeping opera alive. But hopefully I'll be doing this for another 10, 15 years, and at
or
the
even
end,
longer.
Well, touch wood, right? But who knows? At the end of that, it's tiring. It is a tiring career, traveling around the world. And I might just want to sit at home and drink pina coladas in my house and, eat bonbons all day. And, if I choose that, I probably will be bored in about 5 minutes, because I like the contact with people, and I like bringing music to the world. So I'm going to hopefully sing, and we'll see from there.
You consider yourself would probably never struggle with your career?
I hope not. I've been very fortunate.
Smooth, right?
I have... Besides the 2 injuries, vocal injuries, I've been very blessed, I have to say. The Metropolitan Opera has given me so much, and they've believed in me so much. And my career went like this. I just started running. I mean, I did my first full role at the Metropolitan Opera, like I said, when I was 27. I did Trovatore. I mean, who does that? Who does that? And
A lot of young singers not as lucky as you are.
Very
what would you
fortunate.
say to them though?
Keep working. And unfortunately, they have to work harder than our generation did because there's less and less opportunities with opera companies going under. They have to just keep pounding through it. And if you don't love it, do something else.
On that note, I'm afraid we're out of time.
Yeah.
But what a pleasure it has been
Thank you.
visiting with you,
Thank
Sondra.
you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
This has been Classic Talk with Bing and Dennis.